Hello, and welcome to Round Glass. My name is Lisa Kring, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker and a longtime practitioner of Vipassana Buddhism. And I'm so happy to be with you right now with this deep practice that I'll be offering, in which we can learn to manage in a mindful way, in a healing way, to manage and heal the experience of grief, so foundational to the human condition, especially in these uncertain and challenging times. So before we move into the practice, I would just love to offer a question. Just let it land into your heart, into your being, and just see if it resonates for you. And the question quite simply is, in this last year, I guess last year and a half, if we could be honest, have you experienced any loss? And just notice how that lands into your heart, into your body. And I would love you to share in the chat your response. Please, it's so beautiful to be together in community, to be practicing together. It really helps us normalize our experience and gives us permission to feel what's just waiting to be healed in our own hearts. So please feel free to share in the chat any answer that arises in a very authentic way for you in response to that question. And I'm going to continue and just offer some words before we move into this practice. It's a deep practice how we can learn to heal and acknowledge grief as just part of the human condition. Nothing that we need to feel ashamed about or that we need to fix or judge in any way. So as I was reflecting, as we were all reflecting together right now, have you experienced any loss, especially in this past year and a half or so? This is a very deep inquiry for all of us right now. We can all resonate with this. In truth, I feel that we're all grieving at this time. We're all grieving. There's the loss of loved ones, of course, to COVID. There's also, in many ways, the loss of life as we've come to know it in many ways. The loss of our personal safety, of jobs, of our security, the loss of natural habitat. You know, the list goes on and on right now. It's just a deep time in this regard. As I reflect with you, can you feel this within your own heart? I certainly can. I really can. And it's crucial to hold the heart with care and compassion, to identify, to actually respect and honor and heal our grieving hearts. It's so great that you're here with me right now as an opportunity for this healing. Grief can be painful, of course, and unpleasant. It's painful when we grieve. But we actually suffer so much more if we continually resist or block, avoid, or numb ourselves in any way. It is often said in mindfulness circles, if we can feel it, we can heal it. So see if you can just really also just take that in deeply. It's deep medicine, actually, to acknowledge this. And I'd like to invite us all right now to allow and to actually feel some degree of grief, just a little bit. In this practice, you'll see that throughout, I'm going to give you a lot of space, a lot of choice to feel only as much as feels bearable and appropriate and skillful for you right now. And that's fine. That's the beautiful part of this practice. We only need to let in as much grief as our hearts can handle, one bit at a time. It's more that we're in touch with it in a way that is compassionate, that really matters. So we can all learn together right now how healing can flow naturally when we can learn to get out of our heart's own way, feeling our own grief without judgment and with deep compassion and mindful care. So settle in now. This meditation will be about 20, 22 minutes long or so. So given that, just sense into your own body and see if you can discover for yourself right now a physical posture that feels very supportive, very, very kind. What would it feel like to move into a posture, and this is for you to decide for yourself right now, that feels really compassionate, that feels supportive, where you're not pushing yourself too much, where you're taking good care of yourself. So what would that look like in the body right now? Perhaps for you, it's best to lie down. Maybe a chair, a very soft chair that you love, that you feel very comfortable in. So I'm just going to give you a minute to settle in to whatever posture for you embodies right now a quality of compassion and kindness. It's beautiful to let the body lead and let that posture, let that experience in the body begin to prime the heart for an experience of compassion, especially in response to any emotional pain. So settle in now. I invite you to close your eyes gently. And just as a way to bring a bit of mindful presence, to establish that right now in the present moment, I'd like to warmly and kindly invite you to take a very deep breath in. Breathing in deeply, letting it fill up the whole body, perhaps even into the heart center if you like. Bringing your whole being into this breath, letting the breath invite your full presence. And as you breathe out, I invite you to slow this down, just slow it all down. It just feels really compassionate to just slow down and to take your time as you breathe out, releasing throughout the body. Let the breath be almost like a gentle cleansing wave that flows through the body. And as it does so, it gently takes with it any unwanted tension or stress in the muscles. And just let it all flow out as you breathe out. And do this a few times. Do this a few times. A deep breath. Breathing in. And as you breathe in, you can breathe in even more that quality of compassionate attention and care as you breathe in, letting it fill your whole being as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, just letting go fully and deeply, releasing, cleansing. Just letting this be felt in the body at first, just as a compassionate way to become more fully present through the breathing body, taking all the time you need, really slowing down the experience of the breath so that you can really feel it. You can feel the nourishment of it as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, letting go. And then for just a minute or so, if this feels helpful and supportive and caring. You can just gently rest in the breath as it already naturally is. It will return to its natural flow. And see if you can simply lean back just a bit, physically lean back if it's appropriate. And just surrender into the gentle rhythm and flow of the breath. You can gently feel it rocking the body, bathing the body, soothing the body with every breath. And allow the flow of the breath to be a very palpable experience of compassion flowing into the body with every breath. Tapping into that flow of care. And let it be all for you as you breathe in, really drinking that in deeply. And as you breathe out, releasing even more. So just for a few more seconds, see what it's like just to release and surrender into the flow of compassion with every breath. How does this feel? You can allow this flow of compassion to be a warm, healing bath. And just soak in that experience with every breath. As you rest and rock in this very healing experience of the breath, begin to allow the flow of the breath to flow directly into the heart center. And as you do, as you breathe in, really feeling into that heart quality, always here, always available, as natural as the breath. As you connect to this heart, I invite you, as we move into this practice, to literally connect to and to feel the very good and compassionate heart that brought you to this practice period. Can you feel into that goodness? And your presence right now is evidence, really beautiful validation of that goodness in the heart that brought you here, that wants you to be healed, to be held in compassion, that wants this heart to be held with care and understanding. Feel into this goodness, connect to it, and see if you can, in your awareness, give it as much space as it needs. If you like to connect to this quality of the heart, you can place one or both hands directly on the heart center, wherever you feel that warm, glowing, compassionate quality. Especially as you give more and more space. for the goodness of this heart right now, right here. Now, as you bathe in the breath like waves of compassion, and also feeling somewhat aligned and connected to this good and caring heart, inviting you gently to consider perhaps a situation akin to that prompt at the beginning of this time together, in which you at this time have experienced some loss, a loss of some kind, and let the heart reveal itself. The heart has its own intelligence and deep logic. It's skillful to allow a situation of loss or grief to come to mind, to become clear in the heart right now, that's ready for healing, that's ready. You can see what feels right. That on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the most traumatic kind of loss, about a 4. About a 4. Just so you can try this on. Allow this situation to become quite vivid in your mind's eye. Enough so that you can begin to feel into the contours of this situation emotionally. And it's very wise, whenever we're opening to any kind of loss or grief, to give ourselves permission to just sit at the edge. If you like this image of a lake, the lake being the experience of the loss, often it can feel so big, right? And give yourself permission to just sit right at the edge of that lake and feel and allow only enough that feels appropriate for your heart right now. But feel enough. If you like, just place a toe or a foot into that lake of tears, right? And begin to allow the heart to reveal itself in this situation in any way that does feel healing for you. It's normal with grief to at first resist the pain of this experience in the heart. And I'm just going to gently walk you through, give yourself permission to walk through some steps. And to honor that, of course, there's going to be some resistance. When grief comes knocking at the door of the heart, we often want to barricade the door. And you might notice that in your own heart. And this is to be acknowledged and honored. But because we understand that some degree of feeling it does allow us to heal it, perhaps we can begin to move to the next step of healing. By looking through, perhaps this door of the heart has a peephole, if you like. And you can open it and just look out that peephole. And you can say, ah, yes, grief, you have arrived. You are here. I see you. I do feel you. The door is closed, but I know that you're there. I feel it. Notice how that feels, just to recognize and see it. Just to give yourself permission to name it. If that's all that feels appropriate for right now, please know you can remain and rest at this stage of the practice. Your own heart will let you know what's appropriate and right for you. But if it feels welcome, you can very gently move into the next step of basically acknowledging and inviting it in, opening the door of the heart, and allowing this grief that's really waiting for healing, for compassion. Bring it into the foyer of your heart and let it remain there. And just feel it a bit more closely. Where in the body do you feel it as you begin to let it in? Emotions can be felt, and they live in the body until they're released. Where does this grief live in your body? And just feel a little bit of what it's like. Is it heavy? Is it tight? And see if you can just simply be with that experience without interference, beginning to trust the heart's unfolding very gently. The next step, if you feel ready, and please, I'll say it again, you can wait at any of these stages and remain there. But if you feel ready, you can move to the next stage of allowing. This is where you allow the grief to walk around in the heart as it wants to. It will know where it wants to go. Allow it to show you what needs to be felt right now. There may be tears. There may not be tears. And let the experience flow as it will. All holding it with a quality of compassion and care. If you'd like, as it moves around the house of the heart, as it makes its way through, perhaps painful, you can feel it in the body as a way to hold it literally with compassion. To put your hands anywhere on the body and to literally hold and rock. You can also offer words to yourself at this time. I'm right here with you. Let's walk through this together. I've got you right here. And then the last step, if you feel comfortable and if the heart feels ready, never, ever, ever push the heart where it doesn't want to go. you can allow this grief, this loss, to have a seat in your heart. And you can quietly listen. What does it have to say? Perhaps there's something deep that it wants to teach you, to tell you. That all things pass away. That ultimately there is no holding on in this life. And that is true for us all. I'd like you now to return to the flow of the breath. Breathing in deeply, feeling the life force energy of this breath right now. That flow of compassion, always here holding you through the whole experience. Give yourself so much credit for taking this time to open to the heart, to feel this heart around any loss in your life at this time, no matter what. And in these last few minutes, just to reflect, what did you notice? What was this like? And what did you feel? While grief is a painful emotion, feel for yourself and allow yourself to begin to perhaps discover that it is the opening to this, the allowing of this with care and compassion, that actually becomes an experience of healing. In that we're no longer trapped in the loss. Life moves on like a river if we do not impede its flow. Please feel free to open your eyes and we can come back together now. And please share in the chat any thoughts. It's so beautiful to share with each other, no matter how tender, what you noticed, any benefits from that practice. I can tell you honestly that for myself, grief, as I was saying at the beginning, we're all grieving. It doesn't take much for me. When I begin to reflect and open to the heart in this way, I'm always amazed at how easily the tears flow. And these are tears of loss, but they're also tears of healing. It's often said, when we practice with compassion, we practice with wet eyes. May you be free. May you acknowledge your loss, and may you grieve mindfully with love and compassion. And may life continue to support you and flow, guiding you safely along the way. So I want to thank you for the time that we have spent together. And remember that you can meditate on Round Glass Live every single day. What a beautiful resource. Join us again tomorrow or anytime. And check us out at round.glass and on our app. And I'll be back next Wednesday for my next live session. Until then, be well.